I want you to imagine, just for a second, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So you have just launched your dream small business. You've poured, your heart, your soul, and probably your entire life savings into this thing.
Right, the classic entrepreneurial dream.
Exactly. And the launch party was just an absolute hit. You walk back into your showroom, there are empty champagne glasses scattered everywhere. The adrenaline is, it's still pumping. And then you open your mail.
Oh, no. That is the ultimate mood killer right there.
It really is. Sitting right there in the post is a massive, incredibly aggressive cease and desist letter. But, and here's the kicker, it's not just from a competitor down the street.
Right.
It is from a colossal, globally famous pop star who wants to completely shut you down.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, completely shut you down. And the reason, this pop star happens to use a variation of your actual birth name.
I mean, it sounds like the inciting incident of a legal thriller, right? But it's a very real scenario that played out over more than a decade.
It really did.
Yeah.
And to you, the listener, I just want to say thank you for bringing this incredibly fascinating stack of source material to the table. I know you are always looking to learn how the hidden mechanics of the world actually operate.
Yeah, and we definitely aren't looking at fleeting celebrity gossip today.
No, not at all. This is an absolute masterclass in intellectual property, the mechanics of corporate power dynamics, and honestly, sheer underdog resilience.
You might look at the surface and think, well, this is just a petty dispute over a name.
Right, like a celebrity spat.
Exactly. But peeling back the layers reveals a much deeper story. It's about commerce, the right to personal identity, and, who the legal system is ultimately built to protect.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We are going to unpack the nearly two-decade legal saga between the Australian fashion designer Katy Perry, who now goes by Katy Taylor, by the way, and the American pop star Katy Perry.
A literal David and Goliath situation.
Absolutely. We are going to explore how trademark laws actually function when a global mega brand steps onto a small business's turf. We'll look at the specific legal mechanisms that allow these collisions to happen and what this massive dispute means for the rights of everyday independent creators.
Because it has huge implications for anyone starting a business.
It really does. So to understand the landmark ruling that just came down from Australia's highest court, we need to look at how these two parallel lives originally collided back in 2008 and 2009.
Yeah, we have to establish the chronology, who was actually there first.
Exactly.
Because the timeline here is the absolute bedrock of the legal arguments. In trademark law, establishing prior use and the date of application is usually the single most important factor in determining ownership.
Right, it's all about who filed the paperwork first. So first we have the Australian designer Katy Taylor. Now at the time, she went by her given name, Katy Perry.
Her actual birth name.
Her actual birth name. In 2007, she launched her own fashion line under that name. It's a brand focused on colorful, comfortable basics. She's doing the grueling groundwork, building a local manufacturing business from scratch in Australia, and importantly, she files for her trademark.
So she's doing everything right. And while she is navigating local commerce in Australia in 2007 over in the United States, we have an American singer born Catherine Elizabeth Hudson.
Right.
And she adopts the stage name Katy Perry. So by 2008, she is absolutely skyrocketing to global fame. We were talking massive, inescapable chart toppers, like I Kissed a Girl and Hot and Cold.
Songs literally everyone knows.
Exactly. She is dominating both the Australian and the global music charts.
And that actually sets up what has to be the most deeply ironic anecdote in this entire saga.
Oh, I love this part.
It's so crazy. It's July 2008. The Australian designer, Katy Taylor, hears I Kissed a Girl on the radio. And instead of feeling threatened or, territorial about her name, she actually goes onto iTunes and buys the song.
She bought the song.
She bought it. She specifically wanted to support an artist who happened to share her name.
I mean, it's a gesture of pure localized goodwill, right?
Yeah.
She hears her name on the radio and simply thinks, oh, it's a fun coincidence.
Right. It's cute. But fast forward to 2009, and that goodwill completely evaporates. Taylor returns from that incredible first showroom launch party, the one with the empty champagne glasses we talked about, and finds a letter from the pop star's lawyers.
Right before the singer's first Australian tour.
Yes, exactly. And the letter demands that Taylor withdraw her trademark application, which, remember, she had legally registered months prior.
Yeah.
It demands she stop all clothing sales, shut down her website, and halt all advertising.
So basically a demand for a complete and immediate operational shutdown.
Just wipe the business off the map. Taylor's reaction is, well, it's exactly what yours or mine would be. She bursts into tears, feeling this overwhelming sense that she hadn't done anything wrong.
And she hadn't.
Right. Looking at this 2009 letter, the pop star's legal team had to know Taylor had the prior registration. I mean, they can look up the trademark database just like anyone else, right?
Absolutely. They knew.
So I have to assume this wasn't based on the actual letter of the law, but just like a flex of financial muscle.
That is the crucial distinction to make here. In the realm of corporate trademark enforcement, massive legal teams frequently employ an attrition strategy known as carpet bombing.
Carpet bombing.
Yeah. They send out these draconian cease and desist letters with maximum demands, completely untethered from the nuanced realities of who actually filed first.
So they're essentially trying to win the fight before they ever have to step foot in a courtroom.
Precisely. They rely on a very specific economic reality. A small business owner, faced with the terrifying prospect of fighting a global conglomerate, will often simply fold.
Just out of sheer panic.
Panic, fear, and a lack of financial resources. I mean, think about it. The big brands' lawyers bill by the hour. The small business operates on thin margins.
Yeah, Katy Taylor can't afford a huge legal team.
Right. The conglomerate wagers that the local designer can't afford the legal fees to even reply to the letter, let alone mount a multi-year defense in federal court. So the merits of who is technically right are secondary to leverage.
To put that leverage into perspective for you, it's like, imagine you legally buy a plot of farmland to grow apples. You go to the town hall, you file the deed, everything is completely above board.
Yep.
A year later, a billionaire builds a massive supermarket next door, starts selling their own apples, and then sends lawyers to revoke your original property deed just because their apples are more famous.
That's a great analogy. And the supermarket's logic relies entirely on outspending you to the point of bankruptcy before a judge even gets to look at your original deed.
Exactly. But the incredible thing about Katy Taylor is that she didn't fold under that pressure.
She stood her ground.
She did.
Yeah.
That initial aggressive tactic failed, which forced a temporary legal truce. The two sides attempted to negotiate a settlement, but they couldn't agree on the terms.
Right.
So a legal boundary was ultimately drawn. Taylor was granted the trademark for clothing, and the pop star amended her application to cover just music and entertainment.
And that separation, it relies on the structure of intellectual property databases.
Oh, how does that work?
Well, trademarks are broken down into specific classes. Class 25 covers apparel, while Class 41 covers entertainment and live performances.
Okay, so it's like dividing up a map.
Exactly. On paper, it seems perfectly clean. You stay in Class 25, I stay in Class 41.
But the conflict reignited because as the pop star's fame grew exponentially, she toured the world, including Australia, and she started selling branded tour merchandise.
Right, at the concerts.
And crucially, that merchandise included clothing. But wait, hold on. I get why Taylor might feel encroached upon, but selling tour t-shirts is just a standard, expected part of going to a concert, right?
Oh, for sure.
Every artist on the planet does it. So is Taylor actually being a bit, I don't know, petty here by going after basic concert merch? It's not like the singer was opening up a boutique of colorful basics on the corner.
That is the exact tension at the heart of modern branding.
Yeah.
You have to look at the mechanics of what courts call consumer confusion.
Consumer confusion.
Yeah, the whole point of a trademark is to ensure a consumer knows exactly who made the product they're buying. If an artist stays strictly in the realm of music, there is no confusion.
Right, a CD is not a t-shirt.
Exactly. But the modern pop star is no longer just a musician. They are a 360-degree lifestyle brand.
Meaning the merchandise table isn't just a souvenir stand anymore.
Far from it. It is a highly optimized, multi-million-dollar apparel business in its own right. So the friction happens when Class 41 Entertainment uses Class 25 apparel to monetize its brand.
Oh, I see.
When the pop star sells a piece of clothing with her name on it, she is stepping directly into the specific commercial territory that Taylor legally staked out years ago. A judge has to determine if a reasonable consumer would look at a Katy Perry tour shirt and mistakenly think it was produced by the local Katy Perry loungewear designer.
Which proves why staying neatly in your designated trademark lane is almost impossible in the modern era. The pop star's lane naturally expands to consume all the profitable avenues around it.
And that inevitable encroachment is exactly what makes these overlapping classes such a legal minefield.
Wow. So because that merch table effectively erased the boundary line they drew, Taylor realized playing defense was no longer sustainable.
Yeah, she had to pivot.
She transitioned to offense. In 2019, she officially sued the singer, arguing that the pop star had infringed on her registered trademark by selling this merchandise.
And we have to pause here, because shifting from a defensive posture to an offensive lawsuit against a global entity
Yeah.
is a monumental and terrifying escalation for a small business.
I can't even imagine the stress. And the judicial roller coaster that followed is just wild. First, Taylor wins her case in the federal court.
A huge victory.
Huge. But then she suffers a devastating loss on appeal. The appellate judges stepped in, and we really need to look at how they justified their ruling, because it's wild.
It really is.
They found that the pop star's reputation in Australia was stronger than Taylor's at the time Taylor registered her trademark application. They also noted that it's, common practice for pop stars to sell merchandise.
Right. Leaning on industry norms.
But the appeal court didn't stop there. They issued a strong rebuke against Taylor, arguing that her Katy Perry trademark should be entirely canceled.
And to be clear, canceling a trademark isn't just telling a business to stop using a name for a few specific items.
It's way worse, right?
It's the legal equivalent of erasing the business's birth certificate. It completely strips away all previously established protections, leaving the creator totally exposed.
To make it even more surreal, the sources include an email statement from a representative for the pop star responding to the situation.
Oh, the PR spin.
Yeah, get this. The representative wrote, Katy Perry has never sought to close down Mrs. Taylor's business or stop her selling clothes under the Katy Perry label. There is a massive contradiction here. How can the rep claim they never sought to close down her business, but we have the 2009 letter right here demanding a stop to all sales and shutting down the website? Those two realities can't coexist.
Well, public relations statements often obscure the aggressive realities of legal filings.
Clearly.
But what is far more concerning than the PR spin is the appellate court's logic regarding reputation.
Yeah, let's dig into that.
The appellate judges essentially argued that because the pop star had acquired this massive, overwhelming cultural reputation, it somehow superseded the chronological facts of the trademark registry.
Right, because they looked at the timeline of the application process. Taylor applied in 2007, but the registration bureaucracy takes time.
It always does.
By the time it was finalized, the pop star was already charting, so the judges used that small window to say the pop star's fame had eclipsed Taylor's paperwork.
And if we extrapolate that logic, it breaks the entire foundation of the trademark system.
Because it just favors the rich and famous.
Exactly. If a famous entity's sheer scale, wealth, and popularity can retroactively invalidate a prior registered small business, then no independent creator is ever truly safe.
That's terrifying.
It suggests that if you build a brand, and a few years later a billionaire happens to like the same name, the billionaire can just take it simply because they are more famous.
It turns fame into a time machine that rewrites legal history.
That is the terrifying precedent the appellate court set right there. It meant Taylor was no longer just fighting for her clothing line, she was fighting to prove that the legal system actually protects the chronologically sound small business.
Rather than just handing the keys over to the mega brand with the most cultural leverage.
Exactly.
So, since the appellate court effectively stated that fame rewrites reality, Taylor really had no choice but to appeal to the highest legal authority in the country. She had to see if that logic actually held up.
This existential threat to all small businesses lands right on the desk of Australia's High Court.
Right. They had to definitively answer whether money, fame, and global reputation trump chronological facts and proper registration.
Because the High Court serves as the ultimate corrective mechanism when lower courts misapply the fundamental mechanics of the law.
And on Wednesday, the High Court delivered its answer. They officially overturned that devastating appeal ruling.
Thank goodness.
They declared that the cancellation of Taylor's trademark was absolutely not warranted. Furthermore, they explicitly ruled that her use of her own Katy Perry name was not likely to deceive or cause consumer confusion.
The High Court essentially restored the chronological sanctity of trademark registration.
Which is huge.
It is. They rejected the idea that a late-arriving global reputation can bulldoze an established, legally registered local business.
And the relief in Taylor's reaction, it hits you right in the chest. She said, honestly, it kind of feels like a dream. Has this actually happened?
After 15 years, I bet it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, she reflected on the immense 15-year toll this took on her, describing a heaviness and lots of fear and limbo since that very first letter in 2009. She talked about having to actively ignore the chorus of people who constantly told her to just give up, that fighting a giant Simply wasn't worth it.
It's so easy for outside people to say, just drop it.
But she fought for her core values of truth and justice.
Sustaining that level of conviction against a seemingly infinite legal budget requires a type of psychological endurance that is, frankly, difficult to fully comprehend.
It really is. I want you, the listener, to just sit with that for a moment. Imagine waking up every single day for 15 years with a knot in your stomach.
Living in a constant state of legal limbo.
Exactly. Wondering if tomorrow is the day a court tells you that you are legally forbidden from using your own name on your life's work. To look a global giant in the eye and say, no, I filed the paperwork, I was here first, that takes astounding fortitude.
And the reality she gets to inhabit now is beautifully grounded.
It really is. With that 15-year limbo finally lifted, Taylor says she is back to business, she is looking forward to the future, and she is right back to selling her locally manufactured garments on weekends at the Rocks Market in Sydney.
Love that.
There is no corporate buyout at the end of this rainbow. There is no massive global expansion. It is just a small business owner, legally unburdened, doing exactly what she loves.
Connecting this final victory directly back to anyone listening who has their own business or is building their own creative endeavor, registering your intellectual property early is your only shield.
It's the only thing that protected her.
Yes. This story proves that the legal system can be a grueling test of attrition, designed to drain your resources and your emotions. But if you do the paperwork and if you establish your rights chronologically, it can successfully shield the underdog.
So your timeline does matter more than their fame.
But only if you have the registered trademark to back it up.
So we just witnessed a 15-year David and Goliath battle over a name. It was sparked by a wildly ironic iTunes purchase and a draconian cease and desist letter. We analyzed how the impossible boundaries between music and merchandise collapse under the weight of modern branding.
We saw the terrifying threat of a court trying to use global reputation to retroactively erase a small business.
And finally, it concludes with the original Katy Perry, completely victorious, returning to a weekend market in Sydney.
It serves as a profound reminder that while the law is fundamentally designed to protect commerce, it only works when activated by human resilience.
Thank you again to you, our listener, for prompting this deep dive. Your curiosity led us to uncover a story that stretches far beyond pop culture. It is a rigorous look at how commerce, power, and identity intersect in the modern world.
It certainly changes how you view the branded merchandise you encounter every day.
It really does. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Throughout this deep dive, we've analyzed the mechanics of trademark law, but consider the underlying philosophy of personal names as corporate assets.
That's a fascinating angle.
If our own given names, the fundamental markers of our identity, can be so easily commodified, weaponized by global branding, and tangled up in appellate court logic, well, at what point does a human being's fundamental right to their own identity inherently clash with the mechanics of modern capitalism?
It's a heavy question.
Put yourself back at that launch party, the champagne glasses are empty, you tear open the mail. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow and discovered you shared a name with the next massive viral sensation?